The lights in the research lab of the starship Morpheus were dim. Dr. Han Subin liked it this way. The soft blue glow from her computer screens was easier on her eyes after long hours of work. As the ship's lead sleep scientist, she spent most of her time studying how people could sleep better during their long journey through space. The Morpheus was a massive ship. It carried 10,000 people on their way to a new home among the stars. The journey would take 50 years, and most of the passengers spent long periods in special sleep pods. Subin's job was to make sure everyone slept safely and peacefully. On this quiet evening, Subin was checking the readings from Sleep Pod Section 7. Her small robot helper, which she called Dreamy, floated nearby, making gentle humming sounds. The robot helped her monitor the sleeping passengers and their dreams. Dreamy, can you show me the brainwave patterns from Pod 235? Subin asked, pushing her long black hair behind her ears. The robot projected a hologram of colorful waves in the air. Something about these waves was different today. Subin sat up straighter in her chair. She had never seen patterns like these before. They were beautiful and peaceful, like gentle ocean waves. The person in Pod 235 was having the most restful sleep she had ever recorded. She decided to visit Pod 235 to check on the passenger. The corridors of the Morpheus were quiet at night, with only the soft sound of the ship's engines in the background. As she walked, the stars outside the window seemed to twinkle more brightly than usual. When she reached Pod 235, she noticed something strange. There was a soft, silver glow coming from under the pod. Subin carefully opened the maintenance panel beneath the pod. What she found made her gasp. There, tucked away in a corner, was a small object about the size of her hand. It looked ancient, covered in swirling patterns that seemed to move in the dim light. It was made of a material she had never seen before, and it gave off a gentle, pulsing light. Dreamy, scan this object, Subin whispered. The robot's sensors glowed as it examined the strange artifact. The results were amazing. The object was giving off waves that matched perfectly with human sleep patterns. It was as if someone had created a device specifically to help humans sleep better. Subin carefully picked up the artifact. It felt warm in her hands, and looking at its patterns made her feel peaceful and calm. She knew right away that this was an important discovery. She took the artifact back to her lab for more tests. The computer results showed that it was thousands of years old. It wasn't made by humans. Someone else, someone from another civilization, had created it long ago. As she studied the artifact late into the night, Subin noticed that everyone who came near it seemed to feel more peaceful. The night shift workers reported better sleep during their rest periods. Even the plants in the ship's garden seemed to grow better when the artifact was nearby. Subin wrote in her research journal, Day 2457 to 123. Found unknown artifact in Sleep Pod Section 7. It produces delta waves that match human sleep patterns perfectly. This could change everything we know about deep space travel and human rest. More research needed. Could this be why our ancestors had such strong connections to dreams? As she finished writing, Subin yawned. The artifact's gentle pulsing seemed to fill the room with peace. She decided to rest her eyes for just a moment. As she drifted off to sleep in her lab chair, she didn't notice that the artifact's patterns had started to glow a little brighter, as if it was happy to be found after so many years of waiting. Dreamy watched over both Subin and the artifact, its sensors recording everything. Something new and wonderful had begun on the Morpheus, and soon everyone would know about the mysterious object that brought better dreams to all who came near it. The next morning, Subin took the artifact to see Kim Duha, the ship's historian. Duha's office was filled with old books and digital screens showing ancient texts. He was known for his deep knowledge of human history, especially old stories and myths. Duha was reading when Subin entered his office. His round glasses reflected the light from his desk lamp as he looked up. Subin carefully placed the artifact on his desk, and his eyes grew wide with interest. I found this in Sleep Pod Section 7. Subin explained. It's helping people sleep better, but I need to know if you've seen anything like it in your research. Duha adjusted his glasses and leaned closer to examine the artifact. The swirling patterns on its surface caught his attention right away. He walked to one of his bookshelves and pulled out an old book about ancient Roman stories. "Look at this," he said, opening the book to show Su Bin a page about the Aeneid, a very old story about a hero named Aeneas. "These patterns here, in the temple drawings, they match the ones on your artifact perfectly." Su Bin looked closely at the book. He was right. The same swirling designs appeared in drawings of ancient temples where people would go to receive special dreams from their gods. Duha typed quickly on his computer, bringing up more old texts. "There are similar patterns in stories from all over Earth," he explained. "In Greece, Egypt, China, and Korea. Always in places where people had important dreams or received messages while sleeping." Together, they spent hours comparing the artifact's patterns to images from ancient books. They found the same designs in old cave paintings, temple decorations, and even in poetry about dreams. "What if," Duha said softly, "all these stories about dream messages weren't just stories? What if this artifact and others like it were guiding humans through their dreams for thousands of years?" As they talked, more crew members came to Duha's office. Each person who entered said they had slept better last night than ever before. The artifact's gentle glow seemed to grow stronger with each visitor. Duha found an especially interesting story in his research. It was about Aeneas, the hero of the Aeneid, who was guided by dreams to find a new home for his people. "Just like us," Duha said. "We're also looking for a new home among the stars." Su Bin noticed that the artifact's patterns began to move more quickly when Duha read that part. It was as if the object was responding to the story. They decided to bring their findings to the ship's captain. But first, they needed more proof. Duha suggested placing small cameras near the sleep pods to record any unusual dreams people had. That night, as Su Bin walked back to her lab, she heard soft whispers coming from the artifact. They weren't scary. They sounded like gentle reminders of old stories, waiting to be remembered. In her lab, Dreamy had collected more data. The robot showed that when people slept near the artifact, they often dreamed about stars, distant worlds, and peaceful journeys. These were the same kinds of dreams described in Duha's ancient books. Su Bin wrote in her journal, Day 2457 to 124. Working with historian Kim Duha, the artifact's patterns match ancient designs from Earth. It seems to respond to stories about dreams and journeys. Could our ancestors have known about these objects? Were they helping us prepare for space travel all along? As she finished writing, Duha sent her a message. He had found more stories about dream temples in old Spanish texts. Tomorrow, they would continue their search for answers about the mysterious artifact that connected ancient human stories to their journey through space. Li Jinwu sat at his navigation station on the bridge of the Morpheus, looking at the star maps. As the ship's main navigator, he was responsible for guiding their journey through space. But today, something unusual caught his attention. The stars ahead of the ship formed a beautiful purple and blue nebula. Jinwu had never seen anything like it in his star charts. The strange thing was, the swirling patterns in the nebula looked exactly like the patterns on the artifact that Dr. Han Su Bin had found. Jinwu called Su Bin and Duha to the bridge. When they arrived, the artifact they brought with them began to glow more brightly than ever before. Its light pulsed in the same rhythm as the waves of color in the nebula. "Look at this," Jinwu said, pointing to his screen. "Last night, I had a dream about this exact nebula. In the dream, it was showing us the way to go." He paused, wondering if he should continue. "And here's the strange part. When I woke up, 6 other crew members told me they had the same dream." Su Bin placed the artifact on the navigation console. As soon as she did, all the ship's instruments began showing new readings. The nebula's patterns were sending out signals that matched the artifact's energy perfectly. "The dreams are getting stronger," Subin explained to Jinwoo. More and more crew members are sharing the same dreams each night. They dream about stars, ancient temples, and a place waiting for us to find it. Duha opened his tablet computer to show them something. In the old stories, he said, heroes would follow signs in their dreams to find important places. The Aeneid talks about a path of stars that guided people to their new home. Just then, something amazing happened. The artifact's light created a hologram above the navigation console. It showed a path through the nebula, marked by points of light that looked like stepping stones among the stars. Jinwoo checked the path against the ship's safety protocols. "This route is safe," he said with surprise. "It's actually better than the one we planned. It would save us 5 years of travel time." More crew members came to the bridge, drawn by the artifact's glow. Each person who entered said they had dreamed about the nebula. They all described seeing the same path through the colorful clouds of space. Subin asked Dreamy to scan the nebula. The robot's readings showed that the whole cloud of stars was giving off the same peaceful energy as the artifact. It was like finding a huge version of their small treasure floating in space. Jinwoo carefully adjusted the ship's course to follow the dream path. As soon as he did, all the crew members felt a wave of calm wash over them. The ship's engines seemed to run more quietly, and even the stars outside looked more peaceful. The artifacts weren't just helping people sleep, Duha said quietly. They were preparing us for this journey. They were teaching us the way through the stars, one dream at a time. Subin wrote in her journal. Day 2457-125. The artifact has shown us a new path through space. Navigator Lee Jinwoo and other crew members are sharing dreams that match the nebula's patterns. The ancient stories about dream guidance may have been preparation for this moment. That night, as the Morpheus entered the nebula, its walls glowed with soft purple and blue light. In their sleep pods, the crew members shared dreams of what lay ahead. They dreamed of a place where the mysteries of sleep and space came together, waiting to be discovered. Jinwoo stayed at his post, watching the dream path unfold before them. Each new point of light felt like a step closer to understanding why the artifact had chosen their ship, and what secrets still waited in the peaceful depths of space. As the Morpheus followed the dream path through the nebula, Security Chief Park Mireille prepared her team for what they might find. The ship's sensors had detected something large floating among the colorful clouds of space. It looked like a space station, but it was unlike anything humans had built. Mireille stood in the ship's main observation room with Subin, Duha, and Jinwoo. The artifact sat on a special stand between them, its gentle light pulsing in time with distant lights from the strange station. "The station is safe to visit," Mireille said, checking her tablet. "The air inside is clean, and the gravity systems are working. It's as if someone left it ready for us to find it." The captain gave permission for a small team to visit the station. Mireille would lead the group, with Subin studying the station's effects on sleep, Duha looking for historical connections, and Jinwoo helping navigate the strange structure. When their small shuttle docked at the station, everyone felt very calm. The artifact's glow grew stronger, like it was happy to be home. The station's halls were lit with the same soft blue light they had seen in the nebula. "Look at these walls," Duha said with excitement. The corridors were covered in patterns that matched both the artifact and the ancient drawings from his books. But here, the patterns moved slowly, like gentle waves on a calm sea. Mireille led them to what looked like a control room. The doors opened automatically when they approached. Inside, they found rows of empty chairs facing huge windows that looked out into space. Each chair had a small holder that was the perfect size for artifacts like theirs. Subin placed their artifact in one of the holders. Suddenly, the whole room came to life. Soft lights began to glow, and gentle music filled the air. The music reminded them of lullabies from Earth, but somehow more peaceful. "This is amazing," Subin whispered. "According to my readings, this entire station is designed to help beings sleep and dream. It's like a giant version of our sleep pods." Duva found a wall covered in moving images. They showed different alien species sleeping peacefully while traveling through space. "These must be records of the people who built this place," he said. "They mastered the art of peaceful space travel through dreams." Myray discovered a storage room filled with more artifacts like theirs. Each one was carefully placed in a special container. "They left these here on purpose," she said. "They wanted us to find them when we were ready." Jinwoo worked on translating some of the station's symbols. "These signs suggest this was a training center," he explained. "The beings who built it were teaching others how to travel safely through space using sleep and dreams." As they explored more of the station, they found rooms that looked like classrooms, meditation chambers, and observation decks. Everything was designed to create a feeling of peace and rest. Soo Bin wrote in her journal, Day 2457 to 126. "We have found an ancient space station that seems to be a center for studying sleep and space travel. Chief Park Mayray is leading our exploration. The station appears to have been left as a gift for species learning to travel among the stars." That evening, as the exploration team prepared to return to the Morpheus, they noticed something special. The nebula's colors had changed to match their artifacts' glow. It was as if the whole region of space was becoming more peaceful because they had found this place. Mireille made sure everything was secure before they left. She knew they would return soon. This station wasn't just a discovery, it was a beginning. They had found a place where the mysteries of sleep, dreams, and space all came together, waiting to share their secrets with humanity. Moon Tae-young had spent years studying how humans might meet aliens one day. As the Morpheus's first contact specialist, he knew this discovery would change everything. He sat in the station's main archive room, carefully studying the records they had found. The station's computer system had begun sharing its information after recognizing their artifact. Tae-young watched in amazement as the screen showed the history of a species that called themselves the Dream Architects. They were remarkable. Tae-young explained to Soo Bin and the others. The Dream Architects believed that peaceful sleep was the key to traveling through space. They created these artifacts to help other species learn this truth. The archives showed how the Dream Architects had visited Earth thousands of years ago. They had left their artifacts in special places, knowing that humans would find them when they were ready. These artifacts had influenced human dreams throughout history. "This explains so much," Duha said, looking at his historical records. "The ancient Greeks had their dream temples. The Romans wrote about dream prophecies. Every culture had stories about receiving guidance through dreams. The Dream Architects were teaching us all along." Soo Bin studied the medical records the Dream Architects had left behind. "They discovered that good sleep did more than just rest the body," she explained. "It helped their minds connect across space. The artifacts were tools to help strengthen these connections." The station's archives showed beautiful images of the Dream Architects. They looked like tall, gentle beings made of soft light. They had traveled through space for thousands of years, helping young species learn about the power of dreams. Tae-young found records of other species the Dream Architects had helped. Some were still traveling among the stars. Others had built their own dream stations throughout the galaxy. All of them had learned to use sleep and dreams to make space travel safer and more peaceful. "Look at this," Tae-young said, pointing to a star map. "There are more stations like this one. They form a network across the galaxy. Each one is waiting for travelers who are ready to learn." The artifact they had brought began to glow with new colors. It was responding to the station's records, showing them more about its purpose. The Dream Architects had designed each artifact to slowly teach its carriers about the connection between dreams and space. Soo Bin wrote in her journal, Day 2457 to 127. "First Contact Specialist Moon Tae-young has helped us understand the Dream Architect's purpose. They created a system to help species travel peacefully through space. Their artifacts influenced Earth's history, preparing us for this moment." That evening, the team gathered in the station's observation dome. The nebula's colors danced across the curved ceiling, creating patterns that matched the ancient stories in Duha's books. They realized that every dream temple, every story about dream guidance, had been preparation for humanity's journey to the stars. The dream architects knew we would need help when we began exploring space, Tae-young said quietly. They left us these gifts, trusting that we would find them when we were ready to understand. As they watched the nebula's lights, they felt a deep sense of connection to the dream architects and all the other species who had discovered this place. They were not alone in space. They were part of something larger, a community of travelers learning to explore the stars in peace. Senior engineer Choi Hai-jin spent hours examining the station's technology. Her careful hands moved over the ancient machines as she tried to understand how they worked. The dream architects had built everything to last, but they had also left warnings about their past mistakes. The station's computers are showing me something important, Hai-jin told the others. She pointed to a screen filled with flowing symbols. The dream architects faced a serious problem. They relied too much on artificial sleep. It almost destroyed their civilization. Su-bin and Tae-young gathered around her workstation. The station's archives showed how the dream architects had created more and more powerful sleep technology. At first, it had helped them travel through space. But then people started using it too much. They became addicted to perfect sleep, Hai-jin explained. They forgot how to dream naturally. Their children were born needing the artifacts to rest. She paused, looking at their own artifact with concern. That's why they changed their plan. They decided to help other species find a balance between natural sleep and sleep technology. The station's records showed how the dream architects had worked hard to fix their mistake. They'd redesigned their artifacts to be gentler, to work with natural sleep instead of replacing it. They built stations like this one to teach other species about finding the right balance. Look at this, Hai-jin said, showing them a technical drawing. The artifacts we found are different from their early versions. These are teachers, not controllers. They help us learn about our own dreams instead of giving us artificial ones. Su-bin checked the sleep records from the Morpheus. The artifact had never forced anyone to sleep. Instead, it had helped people remember their dreams better. It had made their natural sleep deeper and more refreshing. Hai-jin found more information in the station's repair rooms. The dream architects had left instructions about how to maintain the artifacts safely. They had also left rules about how to use them without becoming dependent on them. They want us to learn from their experience, Hai-jin said. The artifacts aren't meant to be used forever. They're like training wheels on a bicycle. Once we learn the lessons about dreams and space travel, we won't need them anymore. The team spent the rest of the day studying the dream architect's solutions. They learned how the artifacts could be used safely, helping humans explore space without losing their natural ability to sleep and dream. Su-bin wrote in her journal, Day 2457 to 128. Engineer Choi Hai-jin has discovered crucial information about the dream architect's past. Their warnings about sleep technology will help us use the artifacts wisely. We must find the right balance between artificial and natural sleep. That evening, Hai-jin made an important discovery in the station's deepest archives. She found plans for a network of beacons that could activate other artifacts throughout human space. But the plans came with a clear warning. The beacons should only be used when a species truly understood the balance between technology and natural dreams. The team gathered in the station's control room to discuss this discovery. The soft lights of the nebula filtered through the windows as they talked about what they had learned. They knew they held an important responsibility. The dream architects had trusted them to use this knowledge wisely, learning from both their achievements and their mistakes. Captain Yoon Ji-ho stood at the center of the station's control room, looking at the main beacon control panel. His normally calm face showed deep thought as he considered the decision before him. The crew had brought him their discoveries about the dream architects, and now he had to choose what to do with this knowledge. If we activate the beacon, Su-bin explained, it will wake up other artifacts across human space. Many more people will learn about the dream technology. She held their original artifact, which glowed softly in her hands. The captain walked to the station's main window. The nebulous colors painted patterns on the floor as he thought about their options. "Tell me again what you've learned," he said to his crew. "I need to understand everything before we make this choice." Hai-Jin stepped forward first. "The technology is safe if used correctly," she said. "But we must be careful not to become dependent on it, like the dream architects did. We would need to teach people the right way to use it." Tae-young spoke next. "Other species have succeeded with this knowledge," he said. "The dream architects' records show that many civilizations learned to balance the technology with their natural abilities, but each species needed time to adjust." Duha opened his tablet to show the captain some historical records. "The artifacts have been helping humans for thousands of years," he explained. "They guided us slowly, preparing us for this moment. The dream architects trusted us to make the right choice when we found this place." Mayra gave her security report. "The station is well protected," she said. "The dream architects built it to last. We could use it as a training center, teaching people about the technology in a safe way." Jinwoo added his thoughts about navigation. "The dream network could make space travel safer," he said. "It could help us find paths through space that we never saw before. But we would need to remember how to navigate without it too." The captain listened carefully to everyone. Then he asked the most important question. "What happens to the human ability to dream naturally if we share this technology?" Su-bin answered with what they had learned. "If we use it wisely, it makes natural dreams stronger," she said. "But if we use it too much, people might forget how to dream on their own. We would need to find the right balance." The captain walked to each window of the control room, looking out at different parts of space. The nebula seemed to respond to his thoughts, its colors changing slowly as he considered each option. "We have 3 choices," he finally said. "We can keep this knowledge secret and leave the station. We can activate the beacon and share everything at once. Or we can take time to understand it better first, sharing it slowly and carefully." Su-bin wrote in her journal, "Day 2457 to 129. Captain Yoon Jae-ho is considering how to proceed with the Dream Architect's technology. The choice we make will affect how humans travel through space and how we understand dreams." The crew waited quietly as the captain thought. Through the windows, they could see the Morpheus floating peacefully in the nebula. Their ship looked small next to the ancient station, but it represented humanity's first steps into the dream network that spread across the galaxy. The captain turned to face his crew, ready to tell them his decision. The artifact's glow grew stronger, as if it too was waiting to hear what path humanity would choose. After careful thought, Captain Yoon Jae-ho made his decision. He chose the path of gradual learning and careful sharing. The crew would take time to understand the Dream Architect's knowledge before sharing it with others. "We will learn from their wisdom," the captain said, "but we will not repeat their mistakes. We will teach others slowly and carefully, helping them understand both the benefits and the risks." 1 year later, Dr. Han Su-bin stood in front of a new building on Earth. The Dream Academy's walls showed the same swirling patterns as the artifact that had started their journey. The academy would be a place where people could learn about the connection between dreams and space travel. The first students were arriving. They were scientists, doctors, and space travelers who wanted to understand the Dream Architect's knowledge. Su-bin watched them enter the academy, remembering her own first discovery in Sleep Pod Section 7. Duha had set up a special library in the academy. It held both human dream stories and the Dream Architect's records. Students could study how dreams had guided humanity throughout history, preparing them for their journey to the stars. Hai-Jin had created safe training rooms where people could learn to work with the artifacts. The rooms looked like the ones on the space station, helping students understand how to use the technology without becoming dependent on it. Tae-young taught classes about other species who had learned from the Dream Architects. His students learned how different civilizations had found their own ways to balance technology with natural sleep. This helped them understand that there were many paths to wisdom. Miri trained security teams to protect the dream technology. She made sure everyone understood the importance of using the artifacts responsibly. Her teams would help keep the balance between sharing knowledge and protecting it. Jinwoo worked with space pilots, teaching them how to use dream guidance for navigation. He showed them that while the artifacts could help find new paths through space, they should also know how to navigate without them. The Morpheus had returned to Earth, carrying more artifacts from the space station. But these artifacts would not be given out freely. Each one would be used carefully, under the guidance of teachers who understood their power and purpose. Subin wrote in her final journal entry about the discovery, day 2458 to 129. 1 year after finding the artifact, we have opened the Dream Academy. Here, we will honor the Dream Architect's trust in us by teaching others how to use their gifts wisely. The Dream Network will grow slowly, guided by understanding and respect. In the Academy's main hall, their original artifact sat in a special display. It still glowed with gentle light, but now everyone understood its true purpose. It was not just a tool for better sleep, but a teacher that had helped humanity take its first steps into a larger community among the stars. That evening, Subin walked through the quiet halls of the Academy. Students were practicing dream meditation in the garden, while others studied star maps in the library. The soft blue lights reminded her of the nebula where they had found the space station. A young student approached her, asking what it felt like to first discover the artifact. Subin smiled, remembering that quiet night on the Morpheus. It felt like waking up from a beautiful dream, she said, only to find that the dream was real, and it was just the beginning. As night fell, the Academy's walls glowed with the same peaceful patterns they had seen in space. Earth had taken its first careful steps into the dream network that connected civilizations across the galaxy. The future would bring many challenges, but they would face them with wisdom, patience, and respect for the delicate balance between dreams and reality.